Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Talk Tech, the podcast where we talk about technology. I'm Aidan and that's Bryce.
What's up, everyone?
We're having a lot of fun here on our 15th episode.
That is true. Yep, it is our big 15th, which means that we've been doing this for 10 episodes together now.
Yep, our 10th anniversary.
Well, technically 9 because you missed that 1 week.
Yeah, nobody counts that week.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Okay, so we've got a really awesome show for you guys today. We've got some things to talk about.
Yep, you have a story from Facebook, right?
I do. So Facebook has had a pretty busy week. You know, they had their big old developers conference and stuff like that, and that was earlier this week. Their F8 conference. We'll talk about that a little later on, but basically, Facebook decided to write our entire show yesterday.
It's so nice of them.
I know. You know, you just gotta. I have all these great ideas for stuff we're gonna talk about, and then Facebook just throws it all out the window. It's like, no, we must be the top story.
Yep. It's not a good story though.
No, it's not. Facebook went on a little bit of a banning spree.
They did.
They banned a lot of high-profile figures, and I think this is a pretty interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, they banned so many people. Alex Jones, I mean, big names. They say they're extremists.
Debatable on how you see it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them
I think that a lot
banned.
of people in general would just say that these are just controversial figures.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair term for them. Facebook would probably say they're white nationalists. But
yeah, I mean, hate. They say they said some stuff that was classified as hate speech.
Yeah. So some people among the bans are, like you said, Alex Jones, which wasn't he already banned?
I think that was his old account. I'm not quite sure what happened.
I don't know. How are we banning Alex Jones again? Are we just banning Alex Jones' alt accounts at this point?
He's just making other accounts. The biggest internet troll.
Making multiple accounts over and over and over again.
the frogs at alexjones.com.
No. He's making an account called Alex Jones 2.
Oh.
Then he goes to the Alex Jones. Then he goes to Alex_Jones.
And then we have like capital X, Alex Jones, capital X, X.
Yeah. It just goes on from there and there. No.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Alex Jones making alt account, I guess. Laura Loomer, Paul Joseph Watson, lots of people banned.
Yeah.
Milo Yiannopoulos. Many of these people are alt-right figures, or at least people think they're alt-right. I'm trying to be careful with my language here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Lou Farrakhan was another person who got banned. He's more far left, but still said a couple anti-Semitic things back in the past.
Yeah.
He's finally been kicked off Facebook. But, sure, Facebook banned a bunch of people.
They're well
How
within
is that
their
news?
rights. Yeah.
What made it news is actually the backlash.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talking going on once again. Because when these social media platforms ban high-profile figures, then you get the problem of, well, why are they getting banned?
Yeah.
And then we get into all these discussions.
We're worrying about the power they're levying.
Yes. Facebook is flexing that power. And we have to discuss that power a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to see what they can do. Because, I mean, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they all really have the same views. They're all really left-leaning.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of scary for.
And you say left-leaning, but what we mean is that where they're located, Silicon Valley. What does Silicon Valley typically vote? Predominantly blue. So naturally, all the people working at these institutions are going to be inherently biased in some way.
It's scary for Republicans, for sure.
For them, yeah. I mean, the left doesn't have anything to worry about here. They're best friends with Facebook and Twitter and all that. Whereas, you see, I think for Republicans right now, they see all these people getting banned on what we say is the alt-right. You look at the political spectrum, a lot of these people are on the alt-right getting banned. Very rarely do we see someone on the alt-left getting banned.
Yeah, I mean, it's we saw that one person, but that was for anti-Semitic remarks. Yes. I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, but it's like you see all these people on the alt-right getting banned, and it's like, well, what happens if the goalposts move? What if all of a sudden the goalpost shifts a little further towards the middle.
They banned this wave of people, and they're not going to stop here.
No.
They're just going to keep going. They're going to be like, okay, we've banned this level of
we've created this amount of control, now let's squeeze it in a little bit more.
Keep going. Let's keep banning the next level of people we consider controversial. I mean, it's just going to keep going for a while.
And I mean, sure, let's talk about why they're banning people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, hate speech. That's one of the big topics.
It really is.
What is hate speech?
Well, I mean, I personally consider hate speech to be something that a threat towards another person or a group of people based on color of their skin, something that determines that group.
Sexuality, etc.
But that's not what Facebook considers it.
Facebook is... What would they consider it to be then?
I mean, they kind of are making it up on the fly.
Yeah.
They're kind of insults, statements,
yep.
things that usually would be covered under freedom of speech in the U.S. Aren't really covered on Facebook.
Well, it's important to remember that you are given access to Facebook. You do not have the right to use Facebook.
You are allowed to use Facebook until otherwise stated.
Yes, and that's very explicitly stated in their terms of service and stuff like that. Not only that, but Facebook, you do not have First Amendment rights on there. They are a private company. They can pick and choose what they want. Yeah. The problem is Facebook becoming a publisher, or are they still a platform? A platform, anyone can speak, express ideas, etc., etc. A publisher, people who pick and choose what you want. A publisher picks and chooses what they want to publish. I don't want to publish that. I'm not publishing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the problem is this debate of, well, Facebook has always kind of been this platform, right? Well, now we're starting to see these shifts, and this is not just Facebook, but other social media stuff as well.
YouTube.
They're shifting towards publishers where they're picking and choosing what they prefer.
But what we still see is it's all community driven. Yeah. Basically, people submit their stuff, and it goes on the platform for a little while, and then Facebook cherry picks. What do we like? What do we dislike mostly?
Algorithms are especially helpful in that.
Yeah, I mean, and they've gotten better over time. And Facebook uses them less. They use more of their moderators.
I mean, stuff like that.
We've talked about that in the past. But they use more of their moderators. But like something like YouTube, where with the adpocalypse, I mean, that was a huge deal because of the algorithm. I mean, that marked so many people's channels. And I think it's a real worry.
Well, I mean, algorithms play a really big part in this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Because it's like an algorithm can literally kill a person online if they're not meeting all the algorithms stuff the algorithm prefers. Like this, I written an article, I think it was back in February for The Last Straw, all about my personal YouTube channel. And how algorithms stifled that to the point to where I just decided to stop posting on it because the video wouldn't get seen at all. Things like that. An algorithm can, we see this all the time, algorithms, when they prefer something over something else, that can really stifle people down, and that can be one way of silently weeding people out.
Yeah, for real.
But what we're seeing is not a silent weeding of people out.
No, it's very public.
It's very, very, very public to the point where news organizations are publishing about this.
Yeah, I mean, people are talking about this like crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash from people on the right that are worried that they might be next, that goalpost will shift, and that might be a viable concern.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit. So we've got this whole hate speech thing going. You've said your definition, that sort of thing. I'm inclined to agree with you. But what's the official definition of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's something around those lines, but it's still up for discussion.
Merriam-Webster has it as abusive or threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice against a particular group, especially on the basis of race, religion, or sexual orientation.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of that,
makes it a little more vague.
It makes it vaguer than just a threat.
Abusive. Well, what is abusive?
Yeah, what's abusive mean? It can be. It's up for interpretation.
It is up for interpretation a lot, and we see that a lot where it's applied unfairly. Someone might get banned, someone might not.
Yeah, I mean,
for the same statement, maybe reverse the races or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy with. I mean, right now what it boils down to is your political party. Are you saying alt-right things? Or are you saying alt-left things?
Yeah.
I mean, because if you look on Twitter, it's not hard to find people talking, oh, I hate Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kill all Republicans.
Yeah.
It's like, that would get any Republican banned if
Mm-hmm.
it switched.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's a Democrat saying this,
Well,
it's
maybe
fine.
it's not that obvious, but it's very subtle in what they say. It's like,
Mhm.
well, I just
but-
wish Republicans would get Thanos snapped or
Well,
something
yeah,
like
but
that.
I mean, there are scenarios where it is very blatant,
Yeah.
where it is just blatant hate speech, and it's not censored as much as alt-right.
I very much agree with you on that statement.
Mm-hmm.
I think that oftentimes hate speech is what we define as hate speech is subjective, depending on who you are. I can go ahead and say, you know what, Aidan, you have long hair.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people with long hair are awful, disgusting people.
Mm-hmm.
You might find that offensive, me saying that.
Yeah.
So that's hate speech. Let's just say that's hate speech. This is a very, very, very dumbed down example, but you get the point. Well, our director, Ben, out over there, he has short hair, like I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go to Ben, and I can say, Ben, I think that people with long hair are awful, horrible people.
Mm-hmm.
Ben is not going to care. Ben doesn't have long hair.
Yeah,
That
and
doesn't impact him.
That's what it boils down to.
It really is.
We don't care until we are affected by it.
Exactly.
Until we start getting censored, we're not going to care. And at that point, we are a group getting censored at such a macro level, because
Yeah.
each time they aren't censoring all of the right. They aren't censoring all of the left.
No, it's just
little
increments.
bits, and they're just censoring. And we only care until we start getting censored. And once we get censored, it's not going to be a giant uprising. It's going to be maybe 1,000 people
Not
who get
only
censored.
that, but like, you think about it, we say censor.
Mhm.
Why is it censoring? Because these social media platforms are so prominent these days
Mhm.
that you kind of have to be on one in order to get your word out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you go into real life, everybody wants to get your social media.
Not only that, but like for businesses and stuff.
Mhm.
For us, Let's Talk Tech, we want to get the word out. We have to be on Instagram, Twitter, etc.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
in order to reach people somehow and get people to listen to the show. If we get suddenly banned from Instagram and Twitter, suddenly there's a big problem there.
Mm-hmm.
They're so prominent these days that getting kicked off of one can be pretty
It can
dang.
be catastrophic.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's what a lot of people are seeing now. These big figures from the right are getting kicked off. And like Alex Jones, you can find all of his work on InfoWars. Yeah, his website. Sure. But for anybody who actually follows him, it's really hard to get his work now.
Yeah.
And the people who are following him are dying out.
Do you think that's intentional?
For-
Making it these social media platforms kick them off, it makes it hard to find them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these social
Isn't
media
that-
platforms share a similar view on the world. So they're censoring things they don't like.
Well, think about Alex Jones. I don't know if you remember. I think this was earlier this year, maybe it was last year, when he got kicked off of all of those platforms at the exact same time.
Yeah.
The exact same day. It was like Facebook, Twitter, then all of a sudden Spotify comes in. He gets booted off everywhere within hours.
Yeah. And
how is that not coordinated?
And I'd like to say, first of all, I don't personally agree with Alex Jones.
No, I don't think either of us do.
Yeah, and a lot of these people, we don't agree with them. But we're just saying, we as a group, the people who use these sites need to do something about this.
Not only do they need to do something, but they need to at least be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, we need to talk about it more. Because we kind of talk about it for a day. Like this.
Yes.
I looked at it. I was like, okay, well, fine. Whatever. They got banned. I mean, it's not an abnormal thing.
No.
And I'm sure you thought the same thing.
Yeah, I saw the news headlines. I was actually pretty excited. Some of these people really are pretty toxic people, and in my opinion, don't need people listening to them.
Yeah.
Because that influence can be dangerous. But that's the immediate picture. The immediate picture here is, hey, let's protect ourselves from these radical views. But if you look at the big picture, then you can start to realize what's actually going on here is not just protecting people, but it's becoming this sort of training of thought. Let's make sure everyone fits within our mainstream boundaries, and these people who are not so mainstream get quarantined.
Yeah. It's quite scary in the future. I mean, I think we need to do something like immediately about this.
Well, what do we do?
I mean, so I think in the long run...
If you say something the social media platforms don't like, you get kicked off.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and we've let them get to this point. I mean, it's not a new thing that they're censoring people.
No.
We've let them get to this point. We haven't done anything because we don't care until we are the ones affected.
No, exactly, and you say that, but it's like, I don't care if Alex Jones get banned. I'm not Alex Jones.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact me.
I'm not even his friend. I never have talked to him. I've no
never
interest.
Listened to him or anything like that. I don't care. But then it's what happens when my speech gets considered hateful?
Mm-hmm. We need to do something, and a boycott is possible, but at this stage, it's hard to boycott these.
It really is, because sometimes people feel like they can't function in society without these platforms.
And it's not like they feel like it. At some point, you can't.
Oh yeah,
Twitter.
Look at China.
Yeah, I mean they in China they own all of the payment options. I mean, WeChat, it's all.
You get kicked off of. I don't know. I can't think of any examples, but suddenly you can't pay in stores and stuff. Social credit goes down, things like that. It's a very scary system, and the United States, to some extent, is moving towards that.
We aren't as far yet, but we need to do something now while we still can manage without it, to show that we are willing to live without it.
I've got an interesting statistic here. Let me see if I can pull it up really fast. We talk about how often people use social media. Let's talk about teenagers in particular really fast here. People our age. Here is some statistics here from Common Sense Media, comparing 2012 to 2018 of how often teenagers between 13 and 17 use social media. The statistics here, back in 2012, 34% of teenagers use social media more than once a day. Okay?
Okay.
Let's go to last year, 2018.
Oh.
70%. Now, there's this interesting thing about the graphic here that I'm looking at. Not only is, a large number of teenagers using social media, like I said, 70%.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Is that just more than once a day?
That's more than once a day.
I mean, I would say these people, they're above 5 uses a day, I would say.
This is
most of these people.
Just constantly almost. Some of these, at least 20% of 26%, I think, of that more than once a day statistic are using it almost constantly.
Yeah.
They describe themselves as using social media almost constantly.
We rely on social media at this point.
And not only that, but what you can see in some of these other statistics, so we see more than once a day go sky high, right? Well, let's take a look at some of the other answers that they could have given. Once a day, several times a week, once a week, and less than weekly.
Yeah.
What do you think happened to those?
Nobody picks those.
They all go down.
Yeah.
From 2012, the answer one a day went from 17% to 3%.
Yeah.
Several times a week, from 14% to 4%. Once a week went from 7% to 1%. 10% less than weekly went to 3% in 2018.
Yeah, almost everybody is on social media.
And we're seeing it, they're not using it, once a day, they're not using it a couple times a week. They're all using it more than once a day, myself included. I'm just saying, social media is extremely prominent, is the point I'm trying to make here. So we got to be careful about censorship, because it could really have some negative impacts on free speech, since everyone's talking on social media.
We have freedom of speech in America, and that we are extremely lucky. Some countries don't even have that, and it's abused. But we have freedom of speech here, but it doesn't really feel like it anymore. To some extent, you can say what you want outside in the public, as long as it's not hate speech, which we've already been over. You can kind of construe the meaning of that to be whatever you want.
Subjective.
Yeah, but even without hate speech, how many people go and shout their beliefs at the top of their lungs outside?
No, you go post on social media.
You go post on social media, and that's how you influence people. And now we're being censored for that.
And, to some extent, I can see why you would want to get hateful speech off of your platform.
Oh, yeah. it's the same with
Facebook doesn't want to be responsible. They control Facebook. They don't want Facebook to be this toxic place.
They have advertisers, and advertisers don't want to advertise on that content.
Yeah.
So, welcome back. got cut off by lightning just a little bit.
Yeah, we're recording during a thunderstorm, and unfortunately lost power for a second there.
Yeah.
But we were talking about advertisers not wanting to advertise on social media, or on toxic content on social media.
Yeah, and what I was saying is, we as a society don't really care what advertisers advertise on. I mean, how many people really think, okay, I see this KKK video, I see this, let's say, Fortnite ad above in front of it. I'm going to associate Fortnite loves the KKK. I mean,
some people, I'd say most people don't care. But here's what happens is some people do care when they're intentionally trying to figure out what ads.
But the thing is, for most of the people who do care are the people who don't understand social media. The very old people who aren't going to play Fortnite, who aren't going to use this service, who aren't going to go on the internet and look up your YouTube channel. These advertisers really shouldn't care, because do we really care? No, we don't.
No. I think that's a fair point, and I never really thought of it that way. We don't really care where the advertisers are next to, but the advertisers do care where they're next to, because the advertisers don't want to look like garbage.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we need to have a disassociation with that. We need to think in our minds, this advertiser isn't advertising in front of this video on purpose.
No.
They signed a contract, YouTube slipped up, or YouTube's just allowing free speech. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're just advertising on YouTube,
that's
not on the video.
Advertiser's fault. And some people, they make the argument, well, the advertiser's money is going to YouTube and YouTube's allowing that. Therefore, the advertiser's responsible. No, that's not how it works. The advertiser, all the advertiser knows is that the advertiser is paying money for their thing to be seen.
And then you could go around and say, well, YouTube is paying the person who made that video. And maybe that comes into some places. But really, if it's freedom of speech, we should just pay people. It's not a big deal, as long as it's not hate speech, as long as it's within their TOS, which and it's not hate speech. We should allow it. It's freedom of speech. We have it as a country, and if we have it as a country, we should have it for YouTube, for Twitter, for Instagram, for Facebook.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Now, there is a more concerning aspect to this whole people getting banned from Facebook thing that I think we kind of missed. And that was, and you didn't see this in the headlines at all, a lot of these people were actually getting banned simply for associating with people Facebook considers to be dangerous or hate figures.
Yeah, it's scary.
And that's very scary, because we're not talking about activity on Facebook. We're not talking about people willingly going out and breaking Facebook's guidelines. We're talking about people getting banned simply because they appeared in a video next to someone else Facebook doesn't like.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't appeared in a video with anybody, but I've commented on stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not hateful stuff, but just like something about the video. I've commented on it. I don't remember what I've commented on. I mean, I don't know if it was hateful or anything. I can't remember. It may have been a troll comment, but the fact that they can go back and say, you commented on this video.
Not just commented, appearing in videos with a person.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of precautionary at this point.
So let me read this out really fast. A couple of the examples were Alex Jones, of course. He appeared in a video with Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Facebook has previously designated McInnes as a hate figure. Therefore, their justification for banning Alex Jones is for appearing in a video with this guy.
Are these videos on Facebook?
I don't think so.
So Facebook is banning for off-site things.
And that's not okay, in my opinion.
No.
That's
banning
wrong.
as a precaution is not okay. Banning as a result of something they've done against TOS, sure.
So you're saying they're banning people who appear in videos with these hate figures or whatever. That's just so awful. Calling people a hate figure, it comes out of
Most
my tongue
of them
nasty.
aren't.
No, I would say that a lot of these people that we're talking about here have said some pretty awful things.
They've said awful things, but they aren't a hate figure.
And they have a lot of influence, and so people hear these awful things. So, yeah, you could say they espouse some hateful things. But going around and calling people hate figures, who's being hateful there?
Yeah.
Who is being hateful there?
It seems like you can be hateful to these figures, but once they're hateful, I mean, and sure, they're being extremely hateful, but kind of do what you would want them to do. And be the example to them.
And one of the things that I think is interesting here is for Milo Yiannopoulos, who got banned he got banned because he praised McInnes and another far-right person called Tommy Robinson. Both of those people are, of course, designated as hate figures. And because you praise a hate figure, you get banned.
Because you like somebody's work, you can get banned.
But not only that, but... And then Laura Loomer was also appeared with McInnes, or this Gavin guy as well. So she gets banned as well. That's just very concerning, banning people simply for appearing in a video with someone else. So, I don't know. What if I want to have them on a show or something, and I want to talk to them?
Yeah.
Why do you think what you think? Sure, they can say some bad things, and I might be responsible for cutting that out or something like that. But it's like, why can't we have civil discourse with these people? Why do we have to quarantine them off? We can't even appear in videos with them. We can't associate with them.
So if you're putting these videos on Facebook, yes, I understand.
Yeah.
You Facebook has expressed through a ban they don't want them on their platform. They've said, we banned you. You can't come back. That's in TOS. Once you get banned, you're done.
Yeah.
And for them to appear in somebody else's video, yes, it's not their account, but they're still on Facebook, and Facebook doesn't want that. I can understand that. But banning somebody for being in a video off-site, it goes back to the thing. It seems like they're trying to just wipe these hateful people off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Ban all of their accounts at once. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of it at once because of something they said on one site. And to some extent I can't understand it, but banning as a precaution to me doesn't seem like
it doesn't seem like the right approach.
Yeah.
It seems unfair to ban someone when they didn't actually violate your terms of service. You could say, well, the terms of service say that they can ban you for whatever reason at any time.
Yeah.
Sure they do, but is that fair? No, not really.
Yeah, and the reason for their bans is making Facebook a better place. Making Facebook better. How are these bans making Facebook better?
They don't really better Facebook, especially if the person isn't breaking Facebook's rules in the first place.
If anything, they take content out of Facebook.
Yeah, so it makes Facebook a worse place because there's less content, there's less viewpoints, there's less... And like I said, we're not... I want to be very clear here because I feel like this could be taken out of context or something like that. We're not supporting these people or anything they say.
No, not at all.
Like I said, a lot of these people have said some pretty bad things.
They've said some bad stuff.
And neither of me and you, I think we can both agree, are not fans of these people. But we are fans of civil discourse, having the right to speak, having the ability to speak on these platforms. And if you say something that's hateful, it gets deleted and maybe you get banned. Maybe you deserve that. But this whole, hey, I don't like this person, I'm going to find a reason to ban them.
Yeah.
That is just not right.
Yeah, it's what these companies are doing nowadays.
It is pretty much exactly what they're doing.
We really have to do something about it before it's too late.
And they have so much power.
Yeah, I personally have no plan to fix this. Maybe boycott, but that's insanely hard to do.
It is very hard
We can't boycott. We have a podcast to promote.
Yeah, not only that, but it's like, say Google does something we don't like. What are you going to do? Just get rid of all the Google products in your life?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
At some point, and maybe we've already crossed this threshold, at some point, you can't abandon these you can't abandon these companies.
Yeah, because they become so ingrained
they
in
are
society.
Such a large part of your life that you literally cannot abandon them without impacting your life in a very negative way.
I would go as far as to say, let's take cars, for example. Cars are very important in our lives today. It's very hard to, in most places, to get around without a car and things like that. So if a car manufacturer does something you don't like, well, or maybe a bunch of car manufacturers do something you don't like, it's kind of hard to not buy a car.
Yeah, I don't like the pollution of cars. I can't afford an electric car. Am I just going to give up my car? No, I can't.
You got to get around.
If I ever hope of buying an electric car, I have to use it.
Yeah.
We are kind of in a state at this point where we can't move forward without these companies. And we don't really have a way to express... we are expressing our dislike and our disdain of these practices. But how do we really show that we mean it? How do we really show that we're willing to do
It's
something?
very hard to do that.
And what's that something we're willing to do?
And not only that, but a lot of these companies have no competition. Look
Yeah.
at YouTube. I am very, very, very unhappy with YouTube recently. I can't stand YouTube.
Yeah.
They're just awful.
Yeah. But
I still use YouTube every single day.
yeah, but
We post this podcast on YouTube.
a content, a free market content source. What competes with that? Vimeo?
Vimeo isn't even around in that
They
market
aren't.
anymore.
Are they not?
You gotta, in order to really use Vimeo nowadays, you gotta pay money. And it's not like you can go search up videos to watch on Vimeo like you can on YouTube. It's really just like for hosting your videos.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, YouTube is now, they've monopolized the market they're in. They beat Vimeo, they beat all these other streaming services that are community-based. They're now in the media market.
Yeah.
They've monopolized this section of media, and they moved on to media market. And now, how does somebody go up and say, I want to make a YouTube competitor? How do you do that?
You can't.
It has Google backing it. It could pay people to
Not
watch
only that,
YouTube.
but one of the things that I think is interesting about YouTube is Google, I'm speculating here, but Google most likely operates YouTube at a loss.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, YouTube is not a profitable product. But what makes the money for Google is the advertisements on YouTube. That's what makes the money. So YouTube as itself might not make money, but AdSense, all that makes money because of it being on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, and the power they wield with YouTube.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting to have these discussions. You know, is Facebook a publisher or are they a platform? Kind of gray at this point. They're picking and choosing what they want. Take us, for example, The Last Straw. We pick and choose what we want to publish online.
Yeah.
We pick and choose what topics we want to talk about here on Let's Talk Tech. We pick and choose what we want to write about. We pick and choose what we want to make videos about, etc., etc. We're a publisher.
Yeah.
Nobody can just come over here and say, hey, I want to say this. We go, well, you got to go by our rules, and we got to decide, you know, what we like and what we don't, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That makes us as a publisher. Facebook is acting just like us.
Yeah.
You can't go on Facebook and say certain things because Facebook will go, well, I don't like that. You're gone.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at free speech in America, you have a right to say what you want. And you look at us, you don't have a right to say what you want on our platform, on our YouTube channel. You don't get that.
I think it's amazing, though, because it's like...
Facebook doesn't get
not
that either.
only do you have to watch what you say, you know, on social media, but it's like, it's gotten to a point to where I'm thinking, should I really say that? Because in 10 years, that could be banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at stuff in a very grand scale for Twitter. We're looking at stuff... I mean, you look... They banned people for, like, stuff they said 10 years back.
Not only that, but a lot of people just get outright publicly shamed for things they said 10 years back.
Yeah, and I mean...
There was an NFL player just, I think, 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was last week after the NFL draft. He is drafted. And suddenly he gets facing backlash for something he tweeted when he was in 8th grade.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all that stuff...
In 8th grade, I was cussing people out on an online sandbox game. I mean, we're stupid when we're in 8th grade.
Yeah, I mean, people change, and... I mean, I don't think the internet realizes that at this point.
But if people change, then why are permanent bans necessary?
That's a good question. It's precaution.
It is, but like... How do you appeal a ban if you've changed? You don't.
You don't.
And that was one of the interesting things. I was listening to the Joe Rogan show a couple months back when they had the Twitter CEO on and the Twitter head of safety there. Because here you have Joe and I think it was Tim Pool who are being very precautious, just like we are, of social media. They're very worried about the power that social media has. And so they're like questioning Twitter. Twitter is... obviously kind of violated some of these free speech rules in the past that we kind of set where they're banning people for questionable reasons, right?
Yeah.
And unsurprisingly, they're banning more conservatives for questionable reasons than they are from Democrats. Just saying. But that's at least the point of view of what Tim Pool and Joe Rogan were kind of saying. Being very questionable. And one of the questions that they brought up on this podcast was, well, are permanent bans necessary? Shouldn't there be some way of appealing eventually?
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of promising that Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey and their head of safety seem very open to the idea of maybe not doing permanent bans anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. So, sure, you might get banned from a social media platform for a long time, but at least now, instead of getting banned for the rest of your life, getting completely ousted, you just suffer a really cruel punishment.
Yeah, it's a year off social media instead of your whole life.
Yeah. Instead of just being completely quarantined.
And I mean, the reason we have these permanent bans is because we think back, 5-8 years, back when people were making these comments, and back when Twitter and places had to make these rules about permanent bans, they were thinking, oh, well, are we going to be around in 10 years? Well, probably not. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We can give these permanent bans out, and they'll be off our platform for the rest of the time that we're operational, or for the rest of the time until we get bought out by Google, until we get bought out by these big companies. And then it's off our hands. We don't have to deal with it anymore. But Twitter has lasted the test of time. I mean, Facebook has lasted.
Yeah.
Instagram, they've all lasted for so long that these permanent bans, I mean, people actually are coming around and have changed their views.
Yeah.
We're in a new era of social media.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, and not only that, but oftentimes, we see these big figures get banned. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't even know why exactly they got banned. Yeah. Because they don't disclose why exactly what happened. So it's something to take. And not only that, but with Facebook, we know. Mm-hmm. Facebook literally willingly states here, this is from TheVerge.com, quote, the decision to ban these people took into account the group of people's behavior both on and offline, the company said. On and offline.
Yeah. It's scary.
It really is.
You either act like Facebook wants you everywhere, or you aren't on
that's
Facebook.
That's brainwashing, is it not?
It absolutely is.
Forcing people to act the way you want, that's not promoting creativity, and that's not giving people a place to speak. Yeah. It's just brainwashing. Yeah. I think that's very concerning. It's something we'll have to keep an eye on in the future.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a bummer of a topic.
Yeah, I mean, originally I look at this headline. The headlines, Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, all these people get banned, and I'm like, cool. You don't think much about it. But the more you think about it, the more you're like, crap. Yeah. Who's next?
You look at the implications of this.
There is massive implications as well. Here we have people, maybe not the best people on planet Earth, but still people, just getting publicly ousted from a large critical platform. Mm-hmm. And it's important to keep in mind that it's not just Facebook they're getting banned from. They're getting banned from Instagram. They're getting banned from anything Facebook owns, practically. Yeah. Very, very, very concerning.
Troubling times.
Yeah. There's a lot of discussions lately about breaking up big tech. Yeah. Big tech companies. Surprisingly from both sides of the aisle. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to make sure people know the distinction between the two. Yeah. The distinction is, I think that Republicans want to break up big tech because they think that big tech is acting evil. Mm-hmm. And I think that oftentimes the Democrats that do want to break up these big tech companies just want to break them up because they think that big tech is just outright evil. Yeah. Or big companies are outright evil. Big corporations are evil.
I mean, personally, we are getting to critical mass with big tech. We are getting to the point where they're going to start influencing government a lot more than they already are.
Oh, they already are?
Yeah, I mean,
look at lobbying.
Yeah, we see HQ2, we see all this stuff. They're already influencing government, but places can still say, no, we don't really want this. We don't want HQ2. I mean, New York did that. And they can say these things, and it still works out for them, and they still profit fine. They're fine. Yeah. But at some point, it's going to reach critical mass where you can't say no to these big tech companies anymore. Otherwise, maybe Amazon wants to build an HQ in your town. You say yes, or Amazon maybe says, we're going to take our distribution center out of there. It's just not a good idea without HQ there.
And not only that, but I'm looking here at the comments on one of the articles about this, and literally the first comment is, well, when are they going to ban X group crowd next.
Mm-hmm.
People are already talking about when will they start banning another group of people.
Yeah.
Just for reasons I'm not going to say exactly which crowd they're talking about, but another group that's caused issues on Facebook, I guess you could say, or controversy.
Mm-hmm.
We're already talking about banning another group of people.
Yeah. We're just on to bigger and
we're just going to ban everybody.
Things. Yeah.
Everybody gets banned.
Yeah.
I think it's very concerning. Interesting thing here, we talk a lot about extremism on these big social media platforms because that's often a place where extremism gets promoted and stuff. That's why these big tech companies are very concerned about hateful speech, is because they don't want to influence extremism onto someone. House Democrats are wanting to see the budgets of social media, of what budgets, how much funds and stuff they're allocating towards fighting extremism. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's going to do for them. See a number.
I don't really think so either. It's just money.
Yeah.
What we need to start seeing is, well, what are the exact statistics?
Mm-hmm.
How well are you doing fighting extremism? What kind of practices
what plans are you putting in place?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
to fight this kind of stuff. I think that's a fair fight.
Mm-hmm.
Extremism views are garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a fair fight. If you want to get rid of that, that's fine. But when you're actively looking to ban a certain person because you don't always agree with them, that's concerning. Because then what happens when I disagree with Facebook?
And I mean, again, people don't care until they're the ones getting censored.
Yeah.
And we need to stop that. We need to change that immediately. We need to be caring about these things. We need to be saying, well, I don't agree, or like what we're doing here. I don't agree with Alex Jones. I don't agree with
Laura Loomer, Milo Yiannopoulos, etc.
I don't agree with them, but I understand how troublesome this is for the community as a whole. I understand how bad this can be for them, how bad it could be for me, and the implications of this and the future going forward, and I need to make a change with them. I need to cooperate. We need to cooperate with the people we don't agree with, technically, right now, and say, Facebook, please stop this.
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting stuff. Really fast, I did mention that Facebook had its big developer conference this week.
Mm-hmm.
There was some interesting talks there. Facebook is rolling out a major user interface overhaul for those. So that's currently rolling out right now. A couple other things like that. Making some improvements here and there. There is one big change, though, and we might not have a whole lot of time to discuss this full on, but Instagram is testing removing likes, the like number of people who like a post. And they're testing that out in Canada starting, I think, in the coming weeks. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes. Because Instagram's kind of like, ooh, look at how many likes I have. I'm so cool.
Yeah, it's a very look at me site.
And so what Facebook wants to do is they want to make it less about flexing your numbers and more about, hey, check out this cool picture I took.
Yeah,
or this cool video.
Enjoying the content instead of enjoying other people enjoying your content. Which makes sense.
I mean, the original poster can still see how many likes.
Yeah.
It's just other people can't see. So I guess that lowers the flexing power. You know what I mean? It's an interesting test, an interesting idea, not something I'd thought about before. Thought I'd bring that up. So small little tweaks here and there to try to improve how humans behave on social media as well.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff there. But I can't really think of anything else to really say about all this big stuff, tech stuff. I mean, sure, it's concerning. Definitely people need to be more vigilant. Very, 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 very vigilant about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, don't just sweep this under the rug. Don't just be okay with it because it's not you or somebody you follow.
For me, the first few hours, I swept it under the rug. But when you actually think about it, it can be kind of scary.
Yeah, it can be.
But yeah, that's all we've got for that.
Yep.
Okay, so this has been a kind of a downer of an episode.
Yeah, a little bit sad, bit sad.
But we're talking about technology here, and this just happens to be a very big topic right now.
Yeah, this is something we have to talk about.
Yeah, because I mean, what happens when we don't? But it's yeah, it's been a long episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it if you made it all the way through. Very fascinating topic, though. More discussions like this need to be had, and unfortunately, not very many people are having these discussions.
Yeah.
It's very one-sided right now. We're only seeing one side of the political spectrum really outraged by this, when it should be a lot of people. Most people should be very outraged by this because it could be you next. Very concerning, something to think about. But really, there's not much more to say on it. There's no big updates or anything like that. Facebook can do what they dang well please.
Yep, it's their platform.
I just think that if we can apply public pressure, maybe they'll think twice. Maybe. If they're that big to where public pressure doesn't change their mind, then that's scary. But a little tech thing here. We're going to talk about this phone next week, but there have been some leaks with the Pixel 3a.
Yep.
This is the new budget phone from Google. The price was leaked, supposedly. This is the supposed price. It'll be $400.
Oh, pretty cheap.
Which is about $100 to $200 cheaper than I thought it would be, which is exciting. So it's a nice little budget phone. It's got a cheaper, smaller display, things like that. It's Google's first budget phone, cheaper phone, so it'll be interesting to see how this device goes. Google I.O. is next week.
Nice.
So we're going to be talking about that next week on the podcast. It's my week.
It's your week.
Finally.
Oh, Apple will come out with something.
Apple is in June, don't you worry.
Apple will do something.
Yeah, all right.
They can't abandon me here.
In June. We'll talk about Apple in June, don't you worry.
Okay.
All right, but Google I.O. next week, we'll have almost an entire episode just dedicated to that.
Yep.
Yeah. But you know what? That's all we've got for today's episode. We will talk more about that new Google phone next week. We'll show you pictures, etc. Talk all about it. Maybe there's a few surprises in there as well.
Yep.
Everything new that Google's got is going to be next week, so you have that to look forward, or at least I have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we've got for Let's Talk Tech this week. It's been a good discussion. So thank you for talking tech with us this week. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at Let's Talk Tech Pod. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast.
Thanks to our sponsor Anchor.
Oh yeah, and thanks to our great sponsor Anchor for sponsoring this episode.
Awesome service.
Yeah, we love Anchor and awesome stuff like that. So man, I am wiped after that. It's
long discussion.
A very long discussion, very important discussion, though. I'm glad that we can do that here on the show. The only other thing I can think of is just make sure you tune in next week.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time here on Let's Talk Tech.
Hope you enjoyed episode 15.